Welcome back to Chapter 9, Dictionaries and Sets. This is part 3 where we will discuss sets. So this is Ymt218 Object-Oriented Programming, and we will discuss sets and serializing objects within this part of the chapter. So we will just go ahead and discuss sets first. Sets actually a collection of objects, or you can say a group of objects where we store the collection exactly similar to the mathematical set. If you remember from mathematics, any set may have or should have actually the following characteristics. We can have unique items. We do not accept repetitions in sets. This is a useful feature in Python. We can use this kind of feature for you can say eliminating any repetition in some applications. And sets are unordered. There is no order like, well, if you think like an element before the other, it's not exactly a list, so they are unordered. Okay. We may also have different types of data in the same set. So we may have whatever data type available that you can apply to a set or have it as an element in a set. Okay, so these are the basic features that usually sets have while dealing with Python codes. How can we create a set? We use the built-in set function, and that will allow us to create a set. How can we create it? Using what? We have to provide here a sequence. So what we need to do here is providing a sequence. What kind of sequence? It could be string, so it's possibly can be a string, or a tuple, or it can be also a list. So choose either one depending on your application and provide it as an argument. So in that case, you have to provide a sequence. You cannot provide like 1, 2, 3 inside these parentheses. That won't work in this case. Let me show you some examples. Now look, my set equals to set. You can provide a string. This is a sequence, Python. And in this case, what will happen? We will have all these elements separately as elements of a set. So P, Y, T, H, O, N as separate. We don't say characters, we say strings, okay, as elements in this case. Now look, this is the way it's provided, okay. This is my set. It looks similar to the mathematical set, okay. And these are not characters, okay, pay attention, because we don't have the concept of characters exactly in Python. We rather have strings in Python enclosed by single quotes or double quotes or even triple quotes. We explained about this before. Let's say I want to have a numeric set. What can I do? So in this case, I have to provide a list, and this list will be of numeric type, maybe 1, 2, 3, for example. You can't provide it without these brackets as a list. If you don't do that, or a tuple, the set will not accept it. It won't be transferred to the set format. So now we have a set because we provided a list, and this is exactly what we have. Let's say in this list you say 1, 2, 3, 3, 3, maybe 5 times. It will just consider one of them. So your set will not change. It will be 1, 2, 3. No matter how many you repeat, you add 3s here or 2s or 1s, it won't change because we will not have any repetition. It's not accepted in sets. We may have a tuple as a set. So this one could be a list or a tuple. It's possible, but it has to be a sequence. If not sequence, it wouldn't work. So this is exactly the explanation here. Okay. Let's say you want to have a set of lists, not just characters. Here they are lists, yes, but because you have just one, you provided one string. If you want to provide more than one string, you have to encapsulate here by commas and provide them as a list. That's possible. So you can provide a list of strings, and in that case, what will happen? You will have a set of strings. It's possible because the set is a collection of objects. So when we say objects, any type of object is accepted. Okay, that's possible. You may update this set. That means update you may mix or merge two sets without repetition. So we have Ymt218, Ymt212, 113 also. Let's say we update. That means we try to merge these two sets. Set 3, Ymt112 until 113 inclusive. And then we merge it with Ymt114, Ymt118. So we will have a bigger set with new components. So 114 and 118 will be also merged in the set. You see there is no order here. There is no exact order, and the order doesn't matter in sets. It's unordered. Okay. Deleting elements from a set is possible, and we can use remove or discard. For remove, it raises a key error because we need to remove an element which is available in the set, and if it is not available, it will give you a key error. That means that element is not available in the set. Discard, you have to provide the key and the default message. If the key is not available, it will just tell you that it's not available, or whatever the key, the default message that you provided. Clear, similar to the dictionaries, actually, it will just clear or remove all the elements of the set. Okay, now look at this. MySet.clear. So previously we had some elements in this set, myset. So it will just clear all the elements. Now let's say provide new sequence, so that my set will be 1, 2, 3, 4. And then if I display it, or just provide my set, enter, it will just be displayed in this case. If I want to add a new element, I can use .add. This is a method that allows us to add a new element. We can display it again. Let's say if you want to remove, you provide the key. What is the key? An element that you want to remove. Maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. It's up to you. Any of them you can provide and it will be removed. If not available, what will happen? Like here. Look at this. Before I explain about discard, look at this here. Yes. Remove 6. 6 is not available. So if you try to remove it, we will get the trace back, which is an exception, and will tell you like you have a key error in this case because we don't have 6 in the the set. We can apply discard in a similar way. We can apply discard and we provide the element. I said there was a default message. I'm sorry, I'm mistaken. Actually, I mixed it up with other methods. There is no actually default message in this case. I was just a bit confused. You provide the key and it will remove it, or the element that you want to remove, and it will remove it. If the element is not available, it will not do anything and will not raise an exception. There is no default message. Why? I think I just got it mixed up with previous dictionary methods. Okay. Sometimes we need to see the length of a list or the number of elements. We can apply length, very similar to lists and tuples, also dictionary or whatever. We can apply that. Add, we have already gone through it. Update, we used it. I showed you some example about it, how it adds a group of elements to a set. Okay. We can use for loop to iterate. So we can use for loop and in function to iterate over the elements over a set. Very similar to the list, very similar to tuples, is very similar. So there is no much of a difference here. In and not in can be also applied to check if an element is available in the set or not available. So it's up to you. It's a Boolean function that returns true or false based on availability or not, or unavailability of the element. Okay, so we explain about this. Clear, it will just clear all the elements. Maybe you can update it, add new elements to the set, then you can iterate over these elements. Okay. We may apply mathematical procedure. These are sets, so we can apply the union. The union of sets, if you forgot from mathematics, we combine two sets, all the elements without repetition. So if there is any duplication, we don't just repeat them, we take one of them. So the elements available in two sets without any repetition, we combine them. We have a function to do that, which is union. So set1 dot union set2 will do that for you. Or if you don't like this, you can use the operator. This bar operator will allow you to get the union of the sets. So it's up to you what kind of operation it is. If you forgot mathematically, let's say 1, 2, 3, this is set 1, my set 1, 4, 5, 6, this is my set 2. So what do we have in common here? 5 is in common, so we don't repeat it. If you take the union of these two sets, it would be 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, like this. Okay, it will not repeat 5 again. Okay. We can do also the intersection. The intersection here is finding the common elements between two sets. So we can apply the built-in method in intersection, so set1 intersection set2, or we can use the ampersand operator, and that will allow us to get the intersection. Now look at the example. Let's say my set4 equals my set1 ampersand, that means intersection, or the operation of intersection, my set2, and in this case what we will get, what's in common here? Now look, what's in common? Only 5 in common. It may be an empty set, it may be, if there is no any common element, it will just return to you an empty set. Okay, difference of sets, that means difference here is the elements available in set 1 not available in set 2. If we say set 1 minus set 2, actually difference, this one is not exactly minus, it's just the difference. So we can use the built-in difference function or method, or we can use the operator minus, and in that case we will get the elements available in set 1 not available in set 2. So available in set 1 not available in set 2. Now look, what's available in set 1 not available in set 2? 1 and 3. Available in set 1 not available in set 2. Set 2. Okay. Where were we? Okay, we finished this one. The symmetric difference. The symmetric difference actually is a bit has a bit unique description, where we have like the elements that are not shared by the two sets, not exactly in one set and not in the other. Actually, the elements that are not shared. So now look, in these two sets, what is shared? 5, right? 1, 3 are not shared. 4 and 6 are also not shared. So if we take the symmetric difference here in this case, I'm very sorry. In that case, we will get the elements that are not shared. So 5 will be removed and the rest of elements will be taken. So we can have the built-in functions symmetric and discore difference, or we can use this hat, okay, as an operator, right? So in that case we will get 1, 3, 4, 6. It's opposite to intersection. It's very very similar to the opposite of the intersection. Okay. Finding the subset and superset. Now imagine we may have a set that's a part of a bigger set, and this is what we call a subset. Mathematically, we know that subsets have their own definitions and unique operations, or whatever operations apply to them. But if a bigger set is containing one set, let's say B is containing A, okay, how do we know? In Python, we can use the built-in function is subset. So in that case, we can see if it is a subset or not, if A is a subset of B or not. Or if you don't want to use the built-in function, you can use less than equal, sorry. Okay. If you want to see if A is a superset, that means A is containing B, the other way around, you can apply is superset, so set A is superset set B, or you can use greater than equal as an operator. You can apply that. There are some applications for this. We will try to take in practical. Okay, serializing objects. This is a very useful topic, and it helps you to convert maybe some objects to a binary file, or store them in a binary file, where you can save your files from actually you can say spying on. If you want to create some files that people cannot read unless they get to know what kind of files you are storing your data in, and then they can decode the data available using the the deserializing way. So in Python, we can do that using some certain method or some certain actually scenario. We call it pickling, okay? And it has a module that allows us to serialize whatever object you provide. So you may ask, what kind of object can I provide? Whatever. It could be a string, it could be a file content, it could be a list, it could be a tuple, it could be a dictionary, any. So you can serialize any of those, okay? If you have a file, you can transfer its data to a list, then you can serialize it, then you can store it back again in another file, binary file. So we have this pickle as a module. We need to import it. Why? Because it's not available by default. In Python, you need to import it, so import pickle. Then you can use pickle as a class to get a function called dump, and in this function, what we can do is we can serialize an object. So here you provide a file, and the binary file you have to provide, okay? And you need to provide an object that you are willing to serialize, okay? So how does it happen? Now let me show you. I have an example, but before that, let's say you have a serialized file, a serialized object. That means a binary file that's storing an object in a serialized object. How can you get this data, or actually apply the opposite process, or unpickling or deserializing of the process, the opposite way? You import also pickle, and then you use, instead of pickle.dump, you use pickle.load. And in this case, you don't provide two arguments, just the file name with the proper extension of the file is binary, that. And in that case, you will get back your object, which is not serialized, unpickled, or what we call deserialized, okay? Now look, this is a simple example. Import pickle, okay. Add file, we open a file, and now we know how to use open function. We provide the file name with the proper URL. Let's say we are using the main folder of our Python, and then we don't open it for writing. We open it for writing of a binary file. Why? Because this is .dat, okay? And it's available like this with serializing or pickling. So this is a mistake. It should be pickle. Actually, I repeated it here and I forgot to clean it. So pickle, just disregard this one. I will remove it. Pickle.dump. Now you provide whatever object you want to serialize. Let's say I'm serializing my set 6, the last one we used earlier here. Which one? This one. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, it's an object. I'm trying to serialize it. And where will I store it? Out file, which is actually a dat file, which is a binary file. If you try to open it and see its information, you will not know, because it will be actually a series of bytes. Okay, it's just like a binary data. Once it is done, you can close the file. Let's say you want to get your data back. It's not necessarily like now. It's just a simple application to show you how we run such a scenario. But in this case, we can create an in file and open the file for reading, read binary. Remember, before we used W for write, and we used R for read. Now we write binary, read binary, because this is .dat, and in that case it's binary. We have to specify that it's binary. So let's say I want to receive whatever the object in my binary file. After unpickling it, and I have to assign it, or I will assign it to my set 7. It's just an object. So pickle.load, this is the opposite way of dump. This will serialize, this will deserialize, or unpickle. This will pickle, this will unpickle. So in this case, we will provide our file in file, the object that we open the file with, or send it to the in file. And in that case, whatever available here, serialize, or whatever the object, serialized object here, will be assigned back again to my set. We can close the file, and then we can display, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4, what we had earlier. As I said, you may not make a full sense of it now. You will say, okay, what did I do now? well, but pickling is extremely useful, especially in saving some data in a convenient way. Not just names, maybe phone numbers or whatever. You can save it a series of ones and zeros or bytes. And in that case, whatever will reach to your computer will not be able to decode the data in an easy way. Well, this is the end of the chapter. So what we covered in this chapter, dictionaries, and we spoke about them as a special type where we map keys and values. And we spoke about inserting elements or creating dictionaries, adding, deleting, and so on. We spoke also about the use of for loop with in and not in or whatever to check elements in the dictionary or iterate over elements in the dictionary. And we said the elements, when we say an element of a dictionary, we refer to key value pair. We spoke also about the some of the built-in methods applied to dictionaries. And then we spoke about sets. We spoke about how we create sets and how we provide a list. So we need to, not a list, sorry, a sequence. So we need to provide a sequence in order for us to create a set. So it's a must for us to provide a sequence. The sequence could be a string, could be a list, or could be also a tuple. And in that case, we can get a proper set. And we spoke about the features of the set. We said that sets are unordered. We don't care about the order, and they don't allow repetition. Okay, we can add elements to the sets. We can remove elements from the sets. We can apply mathematical operations on sets, like union, like intersection, like difference or symmetric difference, and so on. So maybe you will find some applications for those while you're designing in Python. We can also apply like the subset and the superset and see whether a certain set is a superset or subset of other sets. And we learned also about serializing of objects. And as I said, objects could be any of any type, any object. So we can create a binary file to save them on that file, and it would be more convenient for us. So we call this one pickling. So serializing is pickling in Python, we call it. And unpickling is exactly the opposite way of deserializing of the objects, returning or getting back the values of the objects from their serialized nature. This is the end of the chapter 9 or this chapter, and I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you will benefit from it. Soon enough, I'll create some lab sessions where we will solve some questions. And also, by the end of this chapter, maybe by tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken, or well, hopefully tomorrow, hopefully tomorrow, I will upload an assignment to your, the learning environment. So we will provide the first assignment. We have 1 month to go before the finalizing the midterm. So what we are going to have is the first assignment. I'll upload it to your learning environment, and maybe I'll give like well, I think 5 days is enough. I'll put an extensive assignment about these 9 chapters. So the guideline about the assignment, I will actually make another video to explain about the guideline and whatever you are supposed to do. Until then, have a good time and goodbye.